Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Alex. I graduated from Stanford in math and computer science, and I'm in Tennessee right now. So I'm signing up for some Tennessee sportsbooks that I don't have. So we're on WynnBet. So we're going to talk about taking advantage of the WynnBet. Get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. So you can look at the terms. It just essentially says your first bet you place up to $1,000. If you lose, you get back your $1,000 in the form of a free bet. So essentially you have an $1,000 free lottery ticket. You place your bet, and if you lose, you get your money back, right? So first of all, the first thing to realize is we don't want to place $20 on our first bet. This is a risk-free bet up to $1,000, but you can't place two $500 bets or, 10 $100 bets. It's your first bet only. So we want our first bet to be $1,000. And then also you want your bet to have long odds. So we've spent a lot of time on the arbitrage page. Again, arbitrage, sportsbooks have different odds, so you're profiting off of discrepancies in sportsbook odds. Like here, minus 222, plus 245, right? You can make a risk-free 2.07% return. But what we're going to do here is we're going to go to the low holds page and talk about maximizing the value from a risk-free bet. So what you want to do is you want to go to low hold filters right here. You want to select the sportsbook. So we're obviously going to type in WynnBet. And then show player prop, sure, why not? I'm only in Tennessee for a few days. And then you're going to want to sort by conversion percentage. So what this shows you is we can go through the math actually right here. Is you want your free bet to have long odds. What I mean by long odds is you don't want to place your free bet on something that's minus 300 or minus 200. This is essentially a free lottery ticket, right? So you want it to be plus 400, plus 300, at least plus 200. You do not want to be placing your risk-free bets on something that is minus 105 odds. It doesn't do anything for you because your upside is so high if you win, and if you lose, you just get your money back, right? So if you're placing a risk-free bet on something that's minus 10,000 odds, you're just essentially going to get back, a tiny bit of money, but the whole risk-free aspect of the bet goes away, right? Your goal here is to take advantage of this free lottery ticket and bet on something with long odds. So as an example, we can go through the math with the break-even win percentage. So you can see on OddsJam, we have a calculator that's odds converter. So if we type in minus 200 odds, you'll see your break-even win percentage is roughly 66.6%. So if you're betting on something minus 200 odds, right, you're winning $500 of profit if you win, and you're winning approximately 66.6% of the time, assuming the odds you are getting are fair. And if you're betting on something plus 100, so if we go back to the odds converter, if you're betting on something plus 100, you're winning roughly 50% of the time. If you're betting on something plus 200, you're winning roughly 33% of the time, right? So the higher the odds get, the lower your break-even win percentage goes. They have an inverse relationship. So what you can see is if I place a bet at minus 200 odds, I'm going to win that bet roughly 2/3 of the time, 66.6% of the time, but I'm only profiting $500 when I win. So the expected value of the risk-free bet is 66.66 times 500, right? So I'm winning $500 2/3 of the time. The rest of the time I get back my money, so when I lose that other third of the time, I have no downside. So the EV of this, of a risk-free $1,000 bet at minus 200 odds, is 333.33, right? That's pretty terrible. This is a risk-free bet of $1,000, and it's only worth $333. Now, if you take that up to plus 100 odds, you're winning 50% of the time. So 50% of the time, you're winning $1,000 of profit. You're placing your $1,000 risk-free bet at plus 100 odds. So you're winning $1,000 50% of the time. The other 50% of the time, your bet loses, and you get back your money, right? So essentially, you don't lose anything when you lose. You just get your money back when it's a risk-free bet. So you want to place a bet with long odds because when you lose, there's nothing bad that happens, right? So here we see the EV at plus 100 odds would be $500. Then at plus 200 odds, My break-even win percentage is, going back to the odds converter, 33.33% of the time. So I'm expecting to win this bet roughly 33% of the time. And when my risk-free bet wins, I'm winning $2,000, $1,000 staked at plus 200 odds. So the EV of a risk-free bet at plus 200 odds is 1/3 times 2,000. The other 2/3 of the time I lose, but I lose nothing, right? You're not losing anything when you lose a risk-free bet. So you lose all of your downside and you just get to keep the upside, which is why you want your risk-free bet to be at long odds. So you can kind of see as we continue to increase the odds, if I play something at plus 400, I'm winning roughly 20% of the time, and I'm winning $4,000, right? $1,000 staked at plus 400 odds. I'm winning 20% of the time, $4,000, which is, so the EV of this bet is 80% times 0. When I lose, I get my money back, which will be roughly 80% of the time. The other 20% of the time, I'm getting $4,000. So my EV is 800. So I hope that makes sense. It's the same logic with free bets for your risk-free bet. And you want your bet to have long odds. So what we can do is go back to this low holds page, and we can go to WynnBet. WynnBet Tennessee, that is what we are betting on. And we'll find something good to bet on tonight, right? And I believe you can parlay it together, so we can kind of try to get something with pretty good odds. So we'll go back to the low holds page. We have WynnBet. So it's telling us Central Michigan plus 720, maybe somewhere to look, versus LSU, North Texas versus UAB. And of course, you could hedge part of your bet to guarantee yourself, that you're going to make at least a little bit of money. You could put some money on LSU on FoxBet, right? So this is telling you the rate at which you can convert a free bet into cash, a free play. So what you can kind of see is you can look through and find some opportunities you like, and then we'll calculate the risk-free profit or the profit of our risk-free bet. So we can kind of go through. And again, you can see the move from minus 200 to plus 100 is much different than the move from plus 200 to plus 400. If we're placing a bet at plus 200 odds, we're already getting, $666 in EV. A risk-free bet, the max it can be worth is $1,000. It's strictly worse than cash, just like a free bet. So the longer the odds you make it, the higher your expected profit. So you ideally want something with as long odds as possible, but obviously if you're placing something at like plus 1,000 odds, then it's going to be very difficult to hedge on another sportsbook. So what we can do is kind of look for something we like, and Titans maybe plus 230 versus the Seahawks. You can kind of look through. We'll just look for different opportunities, and then we'll ultimately place our bet. Again, you don't have to do it in a completely optimal way, but you definitely don't want to be placing it on something that's minus 200, right? So this Central Michigan one is interesting, but, plus 720, I'm only winning 1 out of 8.2%. I'm only winning 1 over 8.2. Like, you're winning this bet less than 20% of the time, so it doesn't feel particularly great to bet on. Maybe you want something more in the range of plus 350, plus 400, where it seems at least more realistic. So North Texas versus UAB, that's another interesting one. We have the Texans versus the Browns, Buffalo versus Coastal Carolina. So whatever, let's just pick one. So we'll click on North Texas versus UAB. We can see that WynnBet is giving us plus 380 on North Texas. It's worse than Pinnacle, but, so it's not a fantastic betting opportunity. So maybe what we'll do is we'll just parlay some MLB games together. So we'll go here. We'll go to baseball. And again, we just want to make our odds long, right? We want to make our odds above plus 300, but we don't want to have way too much vig. So we'll go to WynnBet, and we can look at the Indians. You can get plus 180 on the Indians. So if we go here, we can see that, Caesar's giving me plus 183, so it doesn't feel particularly great. But what we can do is click on this, and we can see what Pinnacle has. So Pinnacle has plus 182, right? So this is the same as Pinnacle. So we can bet this, and it logged me out. So I'll log back in, and then I'll place this bet briefly. So I want to trash that. And then I have the Indians, and we'll parlay something else in there. So we have the Indians, and then we'll go down. And again, if the first bet loses, I get my money back. So it's really hard to like feel too bad about it. We could even just bet on the Orioles, right? Like the Orioles are plus 287 on Pinnacle. Let's see what we can get on. Again, Pinnacle is one of the sharpest bookmakers in the world, so they're plus 275 on WynnBet. So maybe we'll just bet on the Orioles, one of the worst teams in baseball, but whatever. And then we can kind of go through the calculations to figure out our expected value. So I'm trying to place $1,000 on it. Let's see if it takes it. And it takes it. So it takes $1,000 plus 275. So let's go through the calculation. So we got plus 275 odds. So our profit if we win is, just $27.50. We're betting $1,000 at plus 275 odds. And this is the Orioles money line. We're winning this bet. So we'll go here. Pinnacle was plus 287 minus 327. So we'll go to that no vig odds calculator, and we'll put in plus 287 minus 327. So according to Pinnacle, the no vig odds are plus 296.37. So again, this bet wasn't particularly great. This wasn't the best risk-free bet I could have gotten to maximize value. We're not even getting, fair odds. We placed our bet at plus 275, and fair is plus 296.37. So our win percentage is 0.2523. So our win percentage is 0.2523. So essentially, this, 25.23% of the time, we're winning $27.50. And then the rest of the time, we're losing nothing. We get our money back. So this risk-free bet has an expected profit of $693. Me coming to Tennessee and placing this bet net me $693 in expected profit. And you could go and you could hedge a little bit on the Red Sox if you wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it open. We'll keep it open. And then the last thing we're going to do is we can look at some of these other win promos. So we placed our risk-free bet. If we lose, we'll get our money back. If we win, that's our money. It's cash. We can withdraw it. Again, you want to bet on long odds, long story short, for your risk-free bet. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to Sportsbook, and we're going to look at these NFL parlays, right? So you can see they give you 30% odds boosts on Patriots, on Colts, Patriots, and Bills all to cover. So what we want to do is figure out, we're getting plus 723 odds. We want to figure out if plus 723 is good or if it's not good. And this is kind of the math to go through it. So we're going to go here. We're going to go to football. And then we want to see, so we want to go to NFL. And the first game was Colts-Rams. So Colts-Rams, and the first bet was Colts plus 3.5. So we have point spread. We have Colts plus 3.5, and we see Pinnacle has it minus 102, minus 108. So minus 102, Colts plus 3.5, minus 108 the other way. So the fair win percentage for Colts plus 3.5, according to the sharpest bookmaker in the world, is 49.3%. So 0.493, Colts plus 3.5. So Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker in the world, they have a pretty tight market. They're telling you Colts plus 3.5 is just winning slightly less than 50% of the time. And then what was next? We want to look at Bills minus 3. So we're going to go back to football. And then we're going to go to NFL. And then we're going to go to Bills minus 3. So we're going to go to Bills, point spread, and then Bills minus 3. So we got to go all the way down. There are tons of alternate, spreads. So where's Pinnacle here? We can see Pinnacle has Bills minus 3 very favored, minus 129, minus 121, plus 109. So it looks like the line is really ripping towards the Bills, even though they, didn't have a great game versus Steelers last game. It's favored, minus 121, plus 109. So what we can do is go to the no vig odds calculator and back out the fair odds of Bills minus 3 winning, minus 121 plus 109, and we see it's 53.36%, so 0.5336, and this is Bills minus 3. And then we want to get the last leg, Patriots minus 6, which is right here. So we'll go back to football, and then we'll go to NFL, and we'll go to Patriots game. And we want to see -6, and then we're going to back out the fair odds of this parlay. Again, these are all uncorrelated events. The Patriots winning doesn't have any effect on, the Bills winning or covering the spread. So we'll go to Patriots. The Jets looked awful last game, so I feel good about the Patriots. I don't feel great about the Colts. But again, like we're talking about mathematical betting, not feeling. So we'll kind of ignore that. And we see Pinnacles -105, -105, right? Same odds for Patriots -6, Jets +6. So the no vig odds would be 50%. And this is Patriots -6. Okay? So these are all uncorrelated events. Here are the probabilities of each of them happening. So to figure out the joint probability, the probability that all three of these happen, Colts cover the spread, Bills cover the spread, Patriots cover the spread, you just multiply them all together, which gets us to 13.1534%. So this is just all three happen, and that means our parlay wins. So the fair odds of our parlay were +660. The fair odds, if we go to this odds converter again, so we'll go to the odds converter, we'll go to calculators, we'll go to odds converter, and then we see it's 13.15%. So 13.15. The fair odds are +660. With the win boost, you're getting +723 because they're boosting the odds 30%, right? So +660 is fair. So +556, what it was initially, is terrible. That is negative expected value. Fair odds, according to the sharpest bookmaker in the world, are +660. You don't want to be betting this +556, but fair odds are +660, so +723 is actually really good, right? So this bet is profitable, and let's see how much they take on it. I'll see if they take 300. Or I only have $200 in my account. So, okay. I'm pretty sure the max on these is $200. I have a WynnBet in Virginia, but WynnBet Tennessee, it's different than WynnBet Virginia. So let's try this. So $200. Sorry, we are unable to confirm if your bet was placed. Okay, let's try reloading and see if it placed the bet. It looks like it didn't. So we'll bet this. And there we go. We get $200 on it. So what's our expected profit of this bet? Again, our odds are boosted by 30%. So we get, +556 odds, 30% higher, +723. So according to Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker in the world, we should be winning this parlay, right? The Colts should cover, and the Bills should cover, and the Patriots should cover 13.15324% of the time. So the fair odds are +660. So essentially, we are winning, $200 staked at +723 odds. So we're winning 200 times, if our parlay wins, we're getting $200 times 7.23. That's our profit if this parlay is to win. So 13.15% of the time, we're winning $200 times 7.23. The other, 87-ish percentage of the time, we're losing our $200 stake. So the expected profit from this win boost is $16. So we're $16 richer, essentially, in terms of expected value, in terms of expected profit, by placing this bet. So, our stake was $200, right? Which means the expected profit of this bet is 8.25%. So that may not seem great, but the expected return of the stock market is 8% a year, and we're earning on $200 essentially 8.25% in expected profit in 2 days. It's Friday night. By the end of Sunday night, we'll either have won or lost this bet. So we're getting an expected return, the expected return of the stock market on $200 in 2 days, right? That's kind of how you think of sports betting as investing, right? We're getting the return of the stock market in 2 days, which is pretty incredible. And that's what the OddsJam positive expected value page shows you as well. Like, we show you large line discrepancies between certain sports books and the sharpest bookmakers in the world. So here we see an incredible bet, right? On FanDuel, you can get over 5.5 goals in the Bayern Munich versus Bochum or whatever it's called team. No idea who these two teams are. I don't watch soccer, but I know Pinnacle is the sharpest bookmaker in the world for soccer, and they're only giving you plus 188, and this is an arb to Pinnacle. So one of these sports books has to be wrong. Pinnacle is only giving you plus 188. That bet on FanDuel is incredible. You're getting a 13.26% expected profit, right? So that is a bet I would want to place. And you can kind of go through and you can see there are tons of opportunities that maybe we can find one to bet. Like, I kind of like this. Tampa Bay Buccaneers first half point spread. Arb to Pinnacle, 3.87% return for every $1,000 I bet. I'm realizing $38.70 in expected profit. Yeah, we can place that. Okay, maybe we can't right now, but this is a bet I'd place after this video is done when I have to enter in my credit card information. Maybe I'll place this bet, right? One of these sports books has to be wrong, and what we can do is we can kind of go to this Buccaneers game. Everything about sharp sports betting, being a sharp sports bettor, is looking for value in odds, right? We see 888 Sport has this favored, minus 105, minus 110, minus 115 on Pinnacle. Like, this plus 100 is just incredible value on DraftKings, and 10Bet is a Canadian sportsbook that copies the odds of DraftKings. They have the same odds provider. So you could place this on 10Bet or DraftKings. It's a mathematically profitable bet. The final thing I'll say about sportsbooks, not related to OddsJam, but look at this promos tab. I mean, Kyrie to score a touchdown boosted to plus 100. Alabama at Florida boosted to plus 100, right? Like, if we go to this game, Alabama, if you found the no vig fair odds just from Wynn's market, so plus 460 minus 650, so plus 460 minus 650, the no vig fair odds for Alabama are minus 485. How much do they let you bet on this? So it looks like they let you bet $25 at plus 100 for the promo. I'll go back to promos very briefly to confirm. But what we can see is, max bet $20. So we can bet $20 on Alabama plus 100 odds. Our bet has an 82.92% chance of winning, roughly, right? Alabama's like minus 485 favorites. So 82.92, 0.8292, that's our win percentage. So we're going to be winning $20. $20 staked at plus 100 odds is $20. We're going to be winning $20 82.92% of the time. And then, the rest of the time, we're going to be losing $20. Nope, something went wrong in that math. Oh, that's supposed to be a minus. Right, so this bet, this promotion, is another 1368, 1317 in expected profit. So this is from the Alabama plus 100. And you don't even have to do math to kind of think about it, right? Like, if you go to this Alabama game, they're minus 650 favorites. You can get them plus 100 for $20. You should obviously do that. It's pretty intuitive. But if you want to think about it in a mathematical way, this is how you can calculate the expected value of this promotion. So essentially, from my risk-free bet, from my win boost, and from this Alabama boost, I'll bet it after this video. We essentially on WynnBet today in Tennessee, because I didn't have a WynnBet Tennessee, we made $723 in expected profit. Obviously, all of these bets could lose. Variance happens. But obviously, you could hedge out. If you wanted to reduce your risk, you could play some money on the Red Sox. You could, this you can't do much about. You kind of have to take it and leave it open or not, because the vig is probably too high to hedge the legs individually. And then here, you could just arb out of it, right? Like, if you wanted to, you could go to any other sports book. Like, what we could do is we could go to football, and then we could type in Florida. So you can see that you're getting plus 550 on Florida on BetMGM, which actually seems kind of good, right? Pinnacle's only giving you plus 450, so plus 550 beats the no vig fair odds. Pinnacle's plus 451, minus 671. So this is Pinnacle's market. So fair odds is plus 479. BetMGM's giving you plus 550. So that actually may not be a bad bet. This plus 550 for my BetMGM Tennessee risk-free bet. But essentially what you could do is like you're getting Alabama plus 100 on WynnBet for $20 is you could arbit with this Florida, right? Like you could just arbit with this plus 550 if you wanted to, and you could get a risk-free profit. So you're getting plus 100 on Alabama, and you're getting plus 550 on Florida on BetMGM. So WynnBet, maximum stake $20, BetMGM, you can make a risk-free $13.85 in profit. You place $6.15 on BetMGM, Florida plus 550, you place your $20 on Alabama plus 100, you make a risk-free $13.85 regardless of the outcome. Your total payout's $40 and you're only staking $26.15. So I hope you found this video helpful about risk-free bets, NFL betting, MLB betting, how you can think about sportsbook sign-up bonuses, and we'll be back in other videos. Thanks so much.